Hi, welcome to another tutorial on learning the Rust programming language. My name is Charles Roberts and today we are going to be going through Cargo and crates. Cargo is Rust's build system and package manager. So you're going to be using it a lot to build and develop your projects. It'll help you build a new project. It helps you compile your projects. It helps you with tests and lots of other features. We won't get into all of them today. We're going to cover just enough to get you started, again with another simple Hello World type tutorial. Cargo.toml is where packages are uploaded into the package repository, allowing the Rust community to share code between them. What crates is mostly going to be used for in these tutorials is we're going to be interacting with the AWS services. So we're going to be building using AWS services, and they are going to be dependencies in our projects, and they are hosted on Cargo.toml. We're going to take a small look at that today. So let's get started and jump into the console so we can start with our first project. Okay, so I'm in my console here and I've already got Rust installed. So to get started with Cargo, the first thing I need to do is build a new project. So to do that, I'm going to do another Hello World project, and I'm going to do Cargo new Hello World. You can see that what's happened over here is a new directory, Hello World, was created. If I open this up inside, you can see some files. You can see a directory called src, source, and in here you can see a main.rs. And in the previous tutorial, after we'd installed Rust and created our first Hello World program, I said that the Rust extension is .rs, so this is going to be a Rust file. Let's take a look inside that. You can see that the Cargo new Hello World command has created a main function with no parameters, and it's using the print Hello World macro. So this was actually where we got to at the end of our last tutorial. Let's take a look at some of these other files. What have we got? Gitignore is used by the Git system. We're not going to touch on that in this tutorial, but what you would do if you were using a Git repository is any files that you do not want to be uploaded into the Git repository, files and directory, are put in the Git ignore. We can ignore that for now. Cargo.toml. In here we can see that we've got some information about our package. So we know that the name of it is Hello World. We've got a version for it and an edition 2021. We can ignore this information for now. We can go over in more depth on a later tutorial what other fields we might put in this package section here. Soon we're going to be taking a look at dependencies, but right now I want to just show you how we can use the cargo command to compile and run our code. And to do that, I'm just going to do cargo run. Okay, so first of all, the mistake I've made is I need to change into the directory. So I'm going to just cd in Hello World. And now when I do cargo run, it's compiled my code. And let's just take a look here. So it's compiled Hello World. It's given me the version. And you can see here that it's used the dev profile. It's unoptimized, and it performed that in 0.13 seconds. And you can also see that doing that produced Hello World, which is kind of what we expected. Over here on the left, we've got a little bit more information. First of all, it's generated this cargo lock file. That is automatically generated, so you shouldn't edit that manually. Just let the cargo tool generate and maintain that file. We also have another directory called target. And if we go into the target, we can see that we've got another folder here, debug. And if I come down here, I've got a Hello World binary. And if you followed along in my first tutorial, which I'll link in the description so you can catch up, you'll know that what happens is it's a two-step process. So we have our Rust file, which is our main file here, and we also have a binary once we've compiled our code. So this is where our binary is stored. Okay, so I could run this directly. If I copy the path here, I should be able to run this code. Okay, so I've just run hello world again by just using the binary. Okay, let's clear that and take a look at the dependencies. So I mentioned the fact that if we want to include other code from, let's say, a package repository written by someone else as a dependency, then we can use crates.io. So this is crates.io. Other people or even yourself can publish crates to them, and then these can become part of your contribution or contributions by others. So in later tutorials, we're going to be building using AWS services, and AWS publishes their software development kit as on crates.io. So first of all, I'm going to go and have a look for one of those, and to do that, I'm going to do AWS SDK, and I'm going to pick the translate service. The translate service simply translates from one language to another, let's say from English to French. We're not going to build anything with it today. We'll do that in a later tutorial. But let's just go and have a look at how we can install it as a dependency. Now, when we go looking for AWS crates, they tend to follow this pattern here. So you get AWS-SDK-translate. There's one exception to that, and I'll show you, or one exception I know about, and I'll show you that in a second. So I'm going to go looking for the translate crate. Let's take a look at it now. Okay, so by bringing that up, I just want you to kind of look at this information here. We've got dependencies, we've got AWS config. Like I say, this is the one exception I know where it isn't AWS-SDK, it's just AWS-config. And then we've got translate and this package here, Tokyo. So what we can do is we could just copy this information here. We can come back, we can go down to our Cargo.toml file, and we can put that in just like that. Then what I can do is I can actually do cargo build. And what that's going to do is that's going to go and fetch those dependencies, and it's going to add them to my package. Like I say, in this tutorial, I'm not actually going to use these. I'm just showing you how we can install dependencies. So we'll just wait for that to finish. Should be quite quick. Okay, so it's now finished adding those dependencies to our package. We haven't used them at this stage. All we've done is we've added them. That's one way of doing it, but there's quite a lot of things that we could get wrong if we were typing this out by hand. So I'm going to show you a different way of doing this, but I'm going to keep this on the screen so that you can follow along with what I'm doing. We can actually add these using Cargo directly. So I'm going to clear my screen just so I can get started again. And I'm going to use a different command. I'm going to use a command, cargo add AWS SDK translate AWS config and Tokyo. Now I need to add in these features, which is here and here. Okay, so I'm just going to add features, and then with Tokyo, we wanted the full features, and then a comma, and then with AWS config, we wanted behavior version latest. I'm going to copy that to avoid making a spelling mistake. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete this from here, and instead I'm going to just press return. I'm just showing an alternative way of doing this. So okay, so the mistake I made there is it's features, not feature. And you can see that even though I cleared this out, it's added that back in. Okay, so even if I hadn't added these before using Cargo build, when I add that line, and just to show you again, this was my line, cargo add, then the package names that I want to add, and then the features that I want to add using this format where it's the package name, a / the feature, the features I'm adding separated by a comma for each one of these packages, and then just add those again. You can see that it adds them in. So it's less typing. The other thing is it's also added the latest version. So it's gone to crates.io and it's got the latest version. So that's also a useful feature. Unless you know that you want to use a different version, you probably want to use the latest version for security optimization and a whole load of other reasons. Okay, so that's two different ways that we can add our dependencies. We can either copy and paste from here, or we can use the cargo add feature. Okay, so now let's clear out of here. As I said before, we're not going to use these dependencies. We're just going to cover how to add them in Cargo. So you saw with we've seen cargo run. So cargo run will compile and it will actually run this. So that's useful when you're developing quickly and you want to iterate quickly. You also saw cargo build, and cargo build will compile our code, but it won't actually execute it. Now, the other thing that I want to draw your attention back to is the fact that it's used this dev profile and it says unoptimized. In Cargo, there are different levels of optimization. Level 0, the lowest, which is unoptimized using the dev profile, will compile quicker, but when you come to execute your code, because it's unoptimized, it might not run so fast. So what we can do, what we mean by that is that because the code is unoptimized, it won't run fast as an executable, but it will compile quicker. So if we're iterating quickly when we're developing, we want fast compile times. You don't want to sit there waiting for a compiler to run. You want to just kind of iterate quickly, compile your code, test it. You're not maybe at this stage too fussed about the execution speed, but then when you want to kind of release your code, maybe put it into production or release it, you want an optimized version of that. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So to do that, we do cargo build, and this time we're going to do release. Now this is going to use a different profile. It's going to use the release profile, which is a fourth level. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 is the highest. And what typically will happen is this will take longer to compile, but then the execution time would be faster. So I'm just going to do that now. When you're doing a released version, it's going to take longer because it performs a number of different checks. It optimizes the code. I'll probably in a later tutorial maybe go into a bit more detail about what that optimization process is once I've done some more research on it. But let's just see that finish compiling now, and then I'll also show you where that executable, where that binary has been put. Hopefully this won't take too long. You can see the compiling process takes quite a bit longer because we've added in those dependencies and we've done it as a release version. So this is why typically when you're developing, you want to just do cargo build, and it will compile faster than if we do the release version. So when we take a look here now, we can see that it's finished. It used the release profile as an optimized profile, and it took 1 minute and 14 seconds. Let's scroll back up here. When I did cargo build last time, it took a lot less time. Okay, so we can see that actually there is a difference in the compile time here. So what did we end up with over here? Inside this target directory, we've got two folders. We had the debug folder, and inside the debug folder, we had our hello world binary, and we ran that by copying the path and just pasting it in, and we got hello world. We've now got a release folder, and inside the release folder, we have another binary, hello world. We can copy the path, and we get hello world. So the key difference here is that the debug is unoptimized code, so it will run slower in execution, but it will compile faster. And the release version of the code will run faster in execution, but it takes longer to compile. So I hope you understand the sort of two differences. But to simplify it again, when you're iterating quickly and you're developing your code, you just want to run cargo build and use the unoptimized version. Just cargo build is the command. When you've finished your development and you're happy with your code and you actually want to ship it to use it, you want to do cargo build release, and then that will take longer to compile, but it will be much faster to execute. Okay. So that's all I've got time for in this session. I hope that was really straightforward and you understand some of the things that we're trying to do. Just to kind of go over it again, you're going to be using Cargo to build new projects. You're also going to be using it to compile your code. You can use it to run your code as well. We've gone over the difference between using an unoptimized build and an optimized build, and we've also shown you how we can go to crates.io, find some dependencies, and we can install those into our package inside the Cargo.toml file. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, I suggest you just go back and watch the material again. If you've got any comments, please provide them, and I will always try and seek to reply and add any clarification. Please do subscribe to the channel. I really do need more subscribers. It helps really fire me up to produce more content. And if you thought that this was good, please give it a like. I really do appreciate that as well. So thanks very much. Thanks for watching. Bye.